Welcome to the Time Capsule Show, where we explore the meaning of life in the 21st century through the eyes of people just like you and me. I'm Joerenz.
And I'm Joenrhuz.
And today we have singer-songwriter Josh Cartwright. Welcome, Josh. We're so happy to have you.
Thanks, guys. Looking forward to talking with you.
Of course. So can you tell us a little more about what you do? What inspired you to want to go into singing and songwriting? And then, of course, your newest album on Spotify.
Sure. So I'll start with the genesis of the project, and it was born sort of similarly to your podcast out of a sense of desperation during COVID. I have an insatiable desire to create artistic content. I'm a proud graduate of Florida State's film school, and really love collaboration. I think it's just the greatest way to expand one's own creativity. And I was looking for a medium where I could create something and not necessarily have to collaborate with people in the same time and space. So with film, it's a little hard. I don't have the patience for animation, so I kind of ruled that out. And I guess a lot of people don't read poetry. That's kind of how I got my start artistically. But I said, let's amp up poetry a little bit with some songwriting. So I dusted off the old vocal cords and I was like, okay, well, if I really wanted to collaborate with anybody in the music industry and the history of music, who would it be? So I looked to my three favorite artistic influences, Bob Dylan, Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, and David Bowie. And I said, how can I use what they've done technically to come up with different concepts for songs to form an album? And so I wanted to blend that, as I do with everything artistically, into my theological background. I'm the son of and nephew of two United Methodist pastors. So, I kind of blend the spiritual into every aspect of creativity that I can muster. So that became the genesis of Starving Art Rockstar. And the idea of the project was as my name, I broke my name up, because I'm a big believer that if you break something, you make it more powerful because the pieces are scattered everywhere. So I changed my name from Cartwright, W-R-I-G-H-T, to R-I-T-E, like a sacred right. And I put barriers to protect the art, little colons, to protect the art. And you can read it as see art as a right. So I did the same for the album project, Starving Art Rockstar. So whether you're starving or a rock star, the concept is to see art as a right. And I identified art as whatever's within you that you can bring to fruition. And this was kind of also like a double-edged sword, because with the project, I wanted to see, okay, I'm collaborating with my idols, indirectly. Will this project lead to actual humans in present time wanting to collaborate with me? And I had two people reach out after the album came out, both wanting to work with me in different capacities. So I'd say in that regard, the album was a resounding success. Regardless of how many listeners I get, I got two people hooked to want to work with me in the future. One who is much better at mixing and mastering, which is the major deficiency, I think, if the album does have one, and another who is into hip hop, who wants to merge that with some of the content I've got going on. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's kind of how things came to be.
Well, that's fun. So I know you said you had these three different influences, right? You did include David Bowie into that. Now you're trying to put hip hop influences into your music. That's so amazing. We gave your music a listen, and I gotta say, it's a very unique sound. It's funky. I can't resist the urge to just like move my shoulders around and just kind of get into the groove of it. It's a really cool feeling.
Yeah, and I feel like it naturally lends itself to hip hop, because I was listening to it. It's like, I feel like you could sample this music and make some hip hop or rap with it. So I'm glad to hear that that's what the direction that it's starting to go too.
Yeah, man. I think like indirectly I was remixing Dylan, Bowie, and Wilson, in making it. So if other people remix it to their heart's content, that would bring me great joy.
So you did mention a lot with what you just said, and I'm so thankful that you shared with us your story and how everything began. But what stood out for me the most was when you said when you break things apart, it's more powerful with the pieces if you scatter them. Did I say it correctly?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And for me, that's such a powerful statement. I mean, later on in the show, we ask what your philosophy in life is, like, how do you live your life? And I think that's such an amazing statement to say this early into the show. I mean, what do you think?
Right. It reminds me of that one saying, not the one with the sticks. It's there's strength in numbers.
Yeah.
Because if there's a lot of pieces, then there's like, there's more to it than just the one big piece.
But like, isn't there also the other perspective that if you break something, it's not 100% anymore and it's weaker? Like, do you think there's also that perspective into that, or how would you? What's your rebuttal for that?
Yeah, I say, like, at any given time, there's two ways of viewing things, and I'm not a very physically imposing person, so I wouldn't be able to take somebody in a physical fight, but I think if I could think of a creative solution around that. I really enjoy the concept of taking things that are weak and turning them into strengths. So, ironically enough, my greatest weakness is probably my dexterity. I could never be a surgeon, guys. Like, it would be a disaster. So, playing the instruments was very difficult. So I took every shortcut I could in terms of recording. If I played it right once, I tended to copy and paste it because I was like, okay, you got it once, there it is. And turning that weakness into a strength using technology, which, we're fortunate to live in this time where I did a lot of the album just on my iPhone. So,
wow. I mean, what a positive mindset. You're trying to take these weaknesses and you find solutions to kind of make your life easier to work around it. So what instrument did you think was the hardest for you to put your fingers on?
Oh man, I would have to say probably guitar, which is ironic because I've been taking guitar lessons the longest out of all the instruments that I played on the album. But just getting the chords to sound consistent, it's just always been a weakness of mine. And I probably did it to myself because I'm left-handed, but I play the guitar right-handed. So, it's almost an inverse sort of thing. But yeah, that was the trickiest.
How about Guitar Hero? Does that count?
Oh man, I'm even worse at Guitar Hero. I have friends who could do expert. I could never get off medium.
Yeah, but I used to take guitar too, and I totally understand. It's a difficult instrument. I feel like it's harder than like when because I also took piano. Piano was a lot easier for me. With guitar, you have to like balance a lot of different things. Your right hand is doing different things from your left hand, and then like at first there was also that thing where you have to curve your fingers, and then your fingers could hurt from the strings. I remember I would come home with like cuts on my fingers. I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah, you have to pay the piper with guitar, especially acoustic. You gotta build up the calluses. You have to earn it.
Yeah, definitely. So we know that music is a huge passion, a huge love of yours. What do you do outside of your love for music?
Oh man, so I try to reinvent myself as often as possible. That's one of the things I live by. I know that's a later question, but I like viewing myself in as many different ways and through as many different lenses as possible. So I try to take what I've accumulated and make something new of it. So I started with writing poetry, like I mentioned. That was my first artistic outlet. Actually, when I was 5, I started drawing, and I was terrible at it, and they wanted to hold me back in school for it. And I said angrily to my mom, I was like, I'm never going to be an artist. And then ironically, I started writing poetry as a teenager, and people thought it was decent. I read at poetry readings, which was pretty cool in college. From there, I went into film school, and then I did a 180. I was like, I'm going to go out to LA and do film. And then I went out there for an awards ceremony, and I was like, I don't feel like living here. So I went back home, and I was like, what am I going to do with my life? And then I got into ministry, which, sort of following the footsteps of my dad. And I, I'm a pretty progressive sort of guy, and they sent me to Amish country. So it was a weird match, didn't really work out. But I took sort of that prophetic inkling, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I could apply that artistically in other ways. So I did that with songwriting. But yeah, I mean, I'm, as you guys are, an accumulation of all my experiences and thoughts, and I just try to use those, positive or negative, to turn it into something tangible, something artistic.
Wow. So I would define you as an eclectic. You have so much experience from different fields and different doings, and you're kind of putting it all together to form something that you're content with.
Oh yeah, and constantly forming new things too, and getting as many people involved. If you guys want to sing or do hip hop on a future project, I'm open to it. I'll say that now. I'll plant the seed.
So let's say you were pursuing a different path. Let's say it wasn't in music, it wasn't in the creative fields. What would you be doing, and why would you be doing it?
So I went to at the start at Florida State, the College of Arts and Sciences. I'm pretty heavy on the arts and not as gifted when it comes to math and science. So combining that with my lack of dexterity, for my hunger for different experiences, talents, and gifts, I'd probably want to be a surgeon, just so I could say I was good at it and contribute in that way positively to society. But since I can't be, surgically precise and haven't the aptitude for math and science, I guess I'll stick with the arts.
Yeah, being a surgeon is it's difficult. I know like you have to have that really steady hand to be able to, for example, sew things back up
Or to open
and
someone's brain up.
oh my God, I can't even imagine. That's why I wouldn't want to be a surgeon either. Just like one small movement, like you poke the wrong thing and everything is over and it's done. And
Yes. And you have to make very precise movements and decisions in real time. And man, if I had made that album in real time, it would sound a lot different. And there would be me cursing under my breath over like every track.
yeah, I totally feel that. I actually used to work in a recording studio for a little bit, and it's an interesting process when they go about recording music. That you have to take a lot of takes in order to get that right take, and then from there, it's treated a lot differently from like a live performance where you got to make sure everything is exact and all that the first time around. And in fact, in the studio, you have more time to create even more art and really expound on your art.
Oh yeah, totally. And that was what drew me to film is like I get a hours to get this right, Oh man, sign me up.
But yeah, I mean, I want to talk more about you about that. So you said no to film, you said no to living in LA. What was the aha moment for you?
So I actually won an award for a film I made called Lemonopolis. I won a college television award back in
Congrats.
2014. And it felt good winning the award. But my best friend at the time was up for the same award. And he got third place. And I was like, man, I really like, it's ironic because he was the director of photography on Lemonopolis. So he shot, the film. But his film I thought was just as good and just as deserving. And when art became competitive in that way, that was like tangible in LA. Whatever car you drive, so many people are in the entertainment industry, and it's so competitive. And I just kind of wanted to get away from that mentality, and get back to my roots and reinvent myself, rediscover what creativity meant to me. And for me, it's not so much about having a large audience. It's about having an audience who's really engaged and attentive on the different things that I'm doing.
Amen to that. And I'm so happy you said that. I feel like many people don't think that enough. That's why I'm so discouraged by shows like American Idol, The Voice, America's Got Talent. It's like talent should be something that is celebrated, not something that is competitive. And when you kind of place these people against each other, like they're chicken, just in a cockfighting ring, and it's kind of just like ruins the fun out of the talent. It ruins the fun out of just creating. And you're so right when you said that.
Oh yeah, I mean, in my mind, the greatest songwriter of all time happens to not be a great singer. Bob Dylan, if he had walked into American Idol, he would have been laughed off the stage. But he's worth $500 million at least, and he's written thousands of amazing songs.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, so we're now at the segment of the show we like to call Past, Present, and Future. Well, we'll be exploring 3 different periods of your life. So, how do you see yourself now? How does this compare to the person you were 5 years ago? And how do you think things are going to be for you in the next 5 years?
Oh man, so 5 years ago, I had just met my wife, like possibly to the day. We went on one of our first dates, and I was still a pastor in Amish country, 2 very very small United Methodist churches, And yeah, I had no idea what my life held for me. But when I met Jasmine, now my wife, I knew that I wanted a future with her. And fortunately, in the present, we're still together. We're still enjoying life, and we have a son now. So that's been the most seismic change. You become a different person automatically when you become a father, and it's work, just like marriage is work, but it's so gratifying too. And just seeing him, growing every month and seeing different things that he's interested in, and seeing him develop a personality. You come to appreciate that that's your greatest contribution to the world in a lot of ways, is how you are as a husband and a father. So, I've always tried to put that at the forefront, and often to the detriment of my professional life, even my creative life. I said, I want a stable personal life that makes me happy. I want a wife that I can laugh with, and I want to be the best father I can be. So I kind of made that my focus, as opposed to trying to earn six figures as fast as I could, or something like that.
So how about now, and where do you expect yourself to be in the next
Oh
year?
yeah. Now, I was terrified, I gotta say, when I knew I was going to become a father. I thought I'm never going to have time for creative projects. My life is, I'm just devoted to him 24/7. And for the first 3 months, that was kind of true. But after that, he slept through the night for the first time, and it was like, whoa. It was amazing. So once he started sleeping through the night, I was like, okay, I can create a schedule for myself, and I can still do creative projects. I can still pursue whatever I want to pursue. And that's held true consistently. So in the next 5 years, I see myself releasing more albums. As COVID winds down, I hope to make films again with people, collaborating with people. And I hope to bring some artistic credence and credibility to the York area, York, Pennsylvania, where I currently live, for as long as I'm here. And what I really want to do more than anything is empower everyone who I come across to be creative and to make art that comes from within you, because nobody else will do it the way you do it. And I think that's pretty cool.
That's so great to hear. So speaking of creativity, and speaking of the things that you want to do and where you see yourself in the next 5 years, what principles do you live your life by every single day?
So a Bob Dylan quote that I really love, and I reference him time and again. He's been a huge influence, but accepting chaos, because change is the only constant, really. And I'm a big believer in using whatever voice or platform I have as some kind of platform of liberation, and empowering and lifting up voices and people who society doesn't look up to, or looks down upon. So some of the songs on the album spoke to a little bit of that. If you listen to the album, yeah, just the things I've gone through personally, and my wife being a woman of color. The song "Honey and Rum" that I wrote for her really spoke to some of the challenges of that, and kind of in your face, like, be yourself. We're going to be ourselves, because that's the way to be, and lifting up people who are marginalized. I think that's really important, because I feel like we should all be on the level. We all have something to learn from someone else, and I honestly think that the more we engage people who are different than us, the better we're going to be as human beings.
It's actually really interesting that you say that, because Honey and Rum was my favorite track on your album.
Thanks. A lot of people like that one. Yeah, I wrote that for Jasmine. She inspired that one. And yeah, it was just a very personal song about, how I view her and our relationship. She's the honey to my rum. So,
That's awesome. And one thing I've noticed about most creative projects is that the most fascinating projects are usually created from such great inspiration. And clearly you've been inspired by Jasmine, and that's given you this talent to just write that amazing song. And I've seen that through many artists too. When they find a really strong inspiration in their life, they can create some of the best art that you've ever seen.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. And each song I wanted, on the album, the goal was to have each song exist as its own universe. So whether it was speaking to basically my whole town from high school, trying to, put us in a box or keep us down on virgin daiquiri, or, trying to speak to the experience of impending fatherhood on Hourglass. I really tried to, in some form of chronology, chart my journey from, high school to the present, at least my formative years.
So you've talked about, your art, your family. What would you say you are grateful for in your life?
Oh man, honestly, the people who care about me most, which is, my wife Jasmine, my son Arlo, my mom, my sister, my mother-in-law, sisters-in-law, just the people who have supported me unconditionally, and the people who, are willing to engage with me. You guys, people who listen to the songs and see the films and take something away from it, because that's the goal. Is just like I had Bowie and Dylan and Wilson, I'd love to be an inspiration for somebody someday.
That's so great. And I'm sure people just from listening to this interview, they will be inspired by your story, where you've come from, what you've seen in the industry, and that's already a huge impact.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
So we're up to the part of the show where we actually get our title from, Time Capsule. And I gotta say, it's one of the most difficult questions on the show. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. So if you were to leave something in a time capsule for people to dig up 100 years later, what would you put in there and why?
So I thought a lot about this one. I wanted to do this one justice. So I wanted to blend sort of the most perfect vision of family life that I've had to this point with the best I could do artistically. And the best film I've ever made to this point, and likely the best film I'll ever make in my whole life, is a 16-second little video shot on an iPhone. And it's of my son Arlo, his first Christmas. My friend from college, Nestor, got him a giant Mickey Mouse stuffed animal. So he comes out, he's being held by his mother. She points to the mouse who's sitting unwrapped under the tree. And Arlo takes one look at the mouse and he laughs. He like smiles and laughs because he knew exactly who it was. And it was just the most perfect, innocent moment of childhood, captured in 16 seconds on my iPhone. No lighting, no fancy equipment. It's the best film I'll ever make.
Oh, that's so adorable.
Would you ever create a music or write or create a film reflecting how you feel about that exact moment?
Oh yeah, I would love if I could, quantify that. I could probably make so many films relating to that moment. And I think I almost want to do an antithesis to Lemonopolis, because Lemonopolis was about children choosing capitalism and this sort of money over friendship. And I'd love to create films that sort of serve as an antidote to that, that are for people of all ages, about coming together, as opposed to that, and having a more uplifting ending as well. So yeah, I see a lot of projects coming from that. I've had a number of songs just come from rocking Arlo to sleep and singing him lullabies. That was the genesis of Hourglass. So a lot of projects just stem from him, and where I was afraid that I wouldn't have any creativity after he was born, I've been given more of it, it seems. So I'm grateful for that as well.
Wow, I'm so jealous of him. I can only imagine once he's like 5 years old, maybe even 10 or 15, and he listens back to those songs, and I wonder what he's gonna feel. He's definitely gonna feel like loved and amazing. Like it's I can't imagine. Good for him. Like I'm so jealous. Lucky kid.
It's pretty cool. I mean, it's the best I can do is give the best of myself to the world, I think.
So I want to ask if you could right now give a future, like maybe your son will see this around, like maybe imagine he sees this 10 years down the road. What message would you have for him?
Oh man, be yourself, and then be whoever you want to be, and then be whoever you want to be after that. Be more than a cat, have more than 9 lives. Be what you want to be, do what you want to be, and don't be afraid to change course as many times as you want or need to. And you've always got a friend in your parents.
It's great. And I really love that bit that you said about the cat, be more than a cat, have more than 9 lives. I've never heard that before. I love that.
Don't stay within the structure limits of things.
Mm-hmm.
In other words.
Absolutely.
All right. So where can people find your album and follow you on social media?
Yeah. So if you'd love to follow me, follow at C Artwright. So C and then an underscore art and then an underscore RITE. Instagram's the platform of choice currently. Looking to get to other platforms soon. And search for Starving Art Rockstar on Spotify or Apple Music and give it a listen.
Awesome. Well, Josh, thank you so much for being a part of our time capsule. And thank you to our viewers for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tune in again next week to meet another amazing addition to our time capsule. See you guys next time.